On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Holy crap is all I can say. Holy crap. We had major movements, both of these dudes. On top of that big stuff with Trump, the tariff thing, stock market gonna get interesting. It's just gonna. We're not done yet. Many are suspicious that we might have to get it down about 20%. I think we're only about down 10 right now, which makes me wonder if China's playing nice with us intentionally. We're going to see. I don't know. It's playing out however it plays out, whether it's intentional, whether there's like everybody's doing this on purpose. I don't know. Part of me has a hard time with that. And the other part of me is like, it is working so beautifully. You almost have to assume that's kind of happening, whatever the case is. We got a bunch to talk about. Going to jump into it. Just get rolling. Elon Musk poking fun at good old Chuck Schumer. Trump has unleashed chaos on America, Chuck says. His tariffs hit families with largest tax hike in months. Elon Musk comes back. Chuck, I'm starting to think you're getting a piece of the action with the government fraud. But no, that couldn't possibly be the reason, could it? Someone's poking a little, I think. Trump plans to fine migrants $998 a day for failing to leave after deportation order. Yikes. That's going to be a lot of money. And on top of that, we're hearing that he's going to be able to actually literally take property. So that's pretty heavy-handed, I'll admit. Again, it depends how it's being used. I know this is going to freak out the friend of mine that's not legal, but they're here. They just bought a house. They've been working together. They got a whole family. Again, is it right? No. I think it's the people that are really, truly breaking the law are the ones that are going to show up on the radar, frankly. So that's kind of what I tell the few illegal people I know. There's a lot of them around here, by the way, folks. You grow up in border towns, not too far from the border. I think 90 miles maybe as the crow flies. So close enough. Yeah. We'll see what happens. A lot going on. A lot is going on. Justice Department scraps crypto unit as Trump further loosens oversight of the digital assets. Also just heard that Ripple made a huge purchase, $1.25 billion purchase, some deal they made. I think they bought something on the stock market. I don't know all the details. Don't follow it too much. Though, I got to give a little pat on the back to my old friend Ron, Mr. Partain, for those of you that still know him or still watch him. He was the one that told me a long time ago, buy some Ripple, man. And I bought it when it was cheap, and I still got it. And it's probably going to go up a bunch. And I'll laugh if it's like Bitcoin, because I'll probably be a total uber millionaire because of that. But again, I don't know, a few thousand. I didn't spend that much on it. I think other people have gone way deeper than I did. But yeah, we'll see. It's always good to have some stuff. Gold, I've made a crap ton. I did really well on that. Up about 43% there. If I actually sold it, I think it's going to go much, much higher. So, let's try this. Here is Pete Navarro talking about essentially what the tariffs are going to do and why just having a country say, yeah, well, we'll lower our tariffs to zero. And that's not necessarily what we want. That's not necessarily good, or it's not even, it's not bad per se, but in a lot of cases, it doesn't change things. He kind of breaks that down. I think I've also got some of Trump talking about it here coming up too. But this is a good place to start.
Was the president willing to negotiate? What we have here is a national emergency based on massive chronic trade deficits caused by systematically higher tariffs and non-tariff barriers. So when you ask if we're willing to negotiate, the president will always listen. But let's understand what the problem is. When you have a country like Vietnam, let's take Vietnam. When they come to us and say, we'll go to zero tariffs, that means nothing to us because it's the non-tariff cheating that matters. Let's do Vietnam, Joe. They sell us $15 for every $1 we sell them. About $5 of that 15 is China transshipping to Vietnam to evade their tariffs.
Why don't you just go after those shippers?
What does Vietnam do? They dump into our markets, killing our shrimpers, our people who make metal brackets, kitchen cabinets, agricultural products. They engage in intellectual property theft. They have the biggest number of cases aside from China at the Department of Commerce on the dumping. So the point is, anybody who wants to come to talk to us about lowering your non-tariff barriers. Vietnam has a 10% VAT. Europe has a 19% VAT. We can't compete against that. We have tried
help
at
us
the
then
World Trade
understand.
Organization to get Andrew, let me just make this point. We have tried at the World Trade Organization since the 1970s to get VAT tax relief, and they've told us no every single time. We've won case after case at the World Trade Organization on things like our agricultural products, pork, beef,
right,
and other, and corn,
Peter,
and they
I
just
think the
blow
thing
us
we're all
off.
trying to...
And in case you don't know, value-added tax basically is a tariff. I mean, that's what they do. They charge an extra amount of money on those products, so you essentially it makes them harder to sell. I don't know if how much. I mean, they get that money, so it directly negatively affects us. They may not charge us a giant tariff, but they add a giant value-added tax to the product. So anyone that buys it pays an extra 15% in some cases, and that money goes to the government. And so what it does is it keeps people from wanting to buy that valuable thing. And that's what they're really talking about. And like Vietnam, it's kind of a complex version, but yeah. I mean, 33% of their total trade revenue is coming from China just trying to skip around tariffs. So by lowering their tariffs to zero, it doesn't really do anything. They're getting us in all these other ways. Trump knows that. So long as they're still going to have value-added tax and stuff like that in Europe, then we're not going to drop our tariffs. That's why Trump's talking about it's going to be reciprocal, it's going to be equal, and there are certain tariffs, one where they bar us from even getting into a country. We're not even allowed to sell our products there no matter what. Or they make it so extraordinarily difficult and expensive. Well, all of those things are things that can be monetized. Like, how much is that costing us? Now, here's your tariff. So this is what is necessary. A lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are saying, sky's falling. This is what is necessary. If we went 2, 3, maybe, if we're lucky, unlikely, but maybe 4 years with things continuing the way Biden was doing it, have Kamala be in charge or Biden be in charge, this country would literally be done. We'd be conquered, we'd be bankrupt. China would basically own us because they would be the ones that have the money. We're literally 2, 3 years away. We had to do some quick movements. They're going to hurt at first, then it's going to get better. Even those of you guys that lost money in the stock market, some of that's going to come back. How much? I don't know. We'll see. But I don't think you lost it all. Certainly that's not how generally the stock market works. Taiwan offers zero tariffs and more investment in the U.S. Now, more investment, that's actually something that works. That's bringing business here, hopefully. I mean, unless they're just like, no, well, seriously, we'll buy a 7-Eleven or we're going to open up, this is Taiwan. I was thinking like in the case of Vietnam, because they've got an absolute monopoly on nail salons, right? But Taiwan, offering some investment, hopefully making chips here would be ideal. Wink, wink, nod, nod. That said, Donald Trump, truth this out. I had a great call with acting president of South Korea. It's such a weird term, right? He's acting. He's acting like he's the president, but nobody thinks he is, right? It's funny to me. We talked about the tremendous and unstable surplus tariffs, shipbuilding, large-scale purchases of U.S. Liquid natural gas, their joint venture in an Alaska pipeline, and payment for the big-time military protection we provide to South Korea. They began these military payments during my first term, billions of dollars, but Sleepy Joe, good old Sleepy Joe, for reasons unknown, terminated the deal. That was a shocker to all. And in any event, we have the confines and probability of a great deal for both countries. Their top team is on the plane heading to the U.S., and things are looking good. We are likewise dealing with many other countries, all of whom want to make a deal with the United States. Like with South Korea, we are bringing up other subjects that are not covered by trade and tariffs and getting them negotiated also. One-stop shopping, beautiful, is a beautiful and efficient process. Trump also wants to make a deal badly, but they don't know how to get it started. We are waiting for their call. It will happen. God bless America. Now, when people say Trump is the master of making the deal, the art of the deal, that's what he's doing. He's using our dollars as consumers to make everybody do what we want them to do, or at least what's more fair and equitable. Let's say that, because it's actually really more what it is. We're using our dollars. Trump knows full well if the prices do go up, we'll stop buying certain products. That will damage that trade revenue a lot. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he basically knows there's enough of us, one, that are reasonably prepared, two, supposedly, they keep saying this number, it seems so low, so I have a hard time believing it's true, but it might very well be, that only 8% of Americans actually have money invested in stocks. Now, I assume they're ignoring pension plans. Maybe pensions in some cases are in stocks, but not controlled at all in any way, shape, or form by the employee. So I would assume that's kind of a weird asterisk, but not technically owning stocks. You don't. You have a pension. That's totally different. That company is going to continue to pay you. You're not getting money from residual stocks that you've got to then, get taxed on, or well, you probably do with pensions too, but whatever. So we're going through the Plato Fun Factory of life, as Bobcat Goldthwait put it, right? We're essentially going through the birth canal. We're getting vagged out right now. We're getting squirted out. And it's moist. I just wanted to use one more word, just because I was already so over the top. I'm like, let's just make it a slip and slide on the way down, because you need something moist to do that. China says it will fight to the end. Ugh, they probably put a fist up. They should have, if it, right? Oh, yeah. And made some face. Well, if it was she, you'd never know. The guy's face, his happy face, his sad face, his in-between face, his love eyes. Like, it's the same face, always. Is always, just always... Hey, how do you feel right now, she? Your father just died. Your child just had a baby. You just had a BJ. Like, till the bitter end, but in Chinese, which I so don't know very much. I know how to say bless you and a couple things. I know how to say it's mine and yours and me, and anyway, I know if I'm trying to learn. Trump White House to impose 104% tariffs on China starting April 9th at 12:01 a.m., meaning 1 minute after midnight, I'm assuming Easter time, tomorrow, or maybe today for you, April 9th, 104%. Boom. Take them apples, or how do you like them apples, or whatever. Now we're going to have to buy Washington apples. 104% tariffs. Now, stock market was having a brilliant day today until that news came out. That hasn't crashed. I'm sure futures were going to be very interesting, so they're going to take advantage of what they can today, I'm assuming. And I'm expecting that Hong Kong Stock Exchange to have a bad day tomorrow, probably. And maybe this is, again, part of sort of bringing things down to a level playing field. A lot of countries have messed with their own currencies. China is certainly guilty of that. They're also government controlled when it comes to manufacturing and things like that. That's kind of weird too. So there's a few different things that sort of need the playing field leveled a little bit. They've sort of favored China whenever China sees fit, as well as that favored nation status nonsense, which they're the number one or two, depending how you look at it, governments. Now, that's going to change. We're going to definitely surpass them, which is kind of amazing. It's pretty cool, though. Panama is going to file criminal complaint against canal port owner. I think it's whoever owns the actual ones that is the Chinese stuff. So now Panama is basically working through the legal courts to try to work this out because China aren't playing the game the way they're supposed to. And Donald Trump's been pretty clear. He's like, one way or the other, we will be controlling the Panama Canal. Whether or not that's us literally taking it over, or whether or not that's us being told by Panama, hey, you can take it over. Either way, we're taking it over. Now, China doesn't like that at all, which, poo-poo to China. It's our Panama Canal. I'd heard a crazy rumor that they're building another canal above it. Okay, I guess. I don't even know if that's true. I haven't looked it up, and I told the guy I wasn't going to because it just seems absurd to me. Like, why? It would be extraordinarily expensive, right? Wouldn't it be just easier to just use the one that's already built? That's probably ridiculous talk. I know. Kitco Precious Metals, we're looking, $29.79. Looks like gold's kind of flattened out, but we'll see what happens come tomorrow. Oh, wow, the stock markets took a bit of a turn. Yikes. NASDAQ was down earlier, but Dow and S&P were kind of just barely down or sort of dancing around. Now we're seeing the end of the day numbers starting to kick in. I think it's 1:30. Am I wrong? Is it 1 or 1:30 when they close down Eastern time? I want to say it's 1:30. And it's, oh yeah, it's after that though. Duh. It's like I'm looking, no, but I think 1:30 my time. I'm sorry. That's what I'm thinking. I think they're still going. It's 12:34 my time, which is cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, good time. Sharing that with you guys. But yeah, NASDAQ's down. They were up a bunch. Futures for NASDAQ was just huge. Like they were expecting it to go to 1,700 or something crazy, like 17,000. Obviously, that number doesn't mean what it says it means. But yeah, there was a huge, like, 1,000-point future going into, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So yeah, I'm not really doing the advertisement, but just want to remind you guys, drslikesgold.com. I don't know if you've got time to get out, frankly, and I don't honestly know if it's a great idea. I would honestly maybe get the ball rolling quickly, and then if things change, you might want to decide not to. If things still continue to sort of move like they kind of are, I might want to consider, because gold's at an even better price than it is. There's a lot of movement built into it. So drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you want to get some precious metals, if you got some cash that you'd like to diversify into precious metals, I would highly recommend that as well. Same place, same bat time, same bat channel, just 4 data points and you're on your way. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Trump is going to be meeting with the House GOP leaders before the vote on the Senate budget resolution. The outcome's totally uncertain. We've got the Freedom Caucus that's not happy about the budget that the Senate's pushed through. They said there's still too much spending, so they're going to be difficult and try to force us to pass something through the House and get the House to actually create it, which is like herding cats, because there's 400 and some odd people in the House, right, versus 100 in the Senate. So the Senate one got through. It's looking solid, looking good. Trump likes it. We'll get to that. But the House is fighting it. So Trump's going to, I think, go have a little chit-chat. And what's funny is Trump is supposed to show up at the National, I say supposed to. I don't know why that word slipped out of my face. The National Republican Congressional Committee, they're holding a fundraiser today, Tuesday evening, which Trump is supposed to be the guest of honor. Wonder how much money wouldn't show up in those people's pockets if Trump doesn't show. Now, Trump will show, but the people that aren't going to help move this through, well, they might have a reminder or something along those lines where hopefully the Freedom Caucus can kind of hang tight. I get what you guys are saying. I get we need to pull back, but I think you guys are trying to pull back too much too fast, and I think you're being way too strict on that. I would say binary in most cases. Sorry, it's just not. And it's like, it's coming in the right direction. Majorly. And again, I'm not perfect. It's not perfect, but this is like, again, steering a giant ship. I think some people are ridiculous in their, like, it has to be this way or else. And then they'll just screw stuff up because they've got aspirations that I frankly think are a little absurd. We can get there, that's for sure. Getting there right now, you're just going to break things. You're forcing it. Bend the branch slowly. Bend it slowly. Be careful. But if you just, snap. Trump touts record $1 trillion Pentagon budget. This is probably going to maybe piss the Freedom Caucus off. I don't know how they feel about this. This is the largest military budget ever, basically saying, look, I hope we never have to use it, but I'll tell you what, we're going to have it. We're going to have all sorts of crazy cool stuff. Obviously, there's stuff that they're trying to invest in as well. I still wonder about black projects. They're never going to tell us, but how many trillions of dollars have been siphoned off into black projects? I'm wondering, or is that more of that black fleet? I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that, but supposedly there's a deep state fleet and a whole set of craft that belong to them that are essentially F-22s, aircraft carriers, our stuff, like good stuff, really good stuff that they just paid for themselves. What was the movie Stargate kind of told us that, really. They told us blatantly on that. They're like, whenever the government gets a budget and puts a budget together to build a thing, they always build two with that same budget. That's the whole point of the budget to begin with. So there's always a second one, right? So that's something we got to keep in mind. But $1 trillion, a crap ton of money. Trump put this out. Budget plan just passed by the United States has my complete and total endorsement and support. All of the elements we need to secure the border, enact historic spending cuts, and make tax cuts permanent, and much more, are strongly covered and represented in the bill. Thank you to the Senate Majority Leader John Thune and House Speaker Mike Johnson for their hard work and attention to detail. There is no better time than now to get this deal done. The House The Senate and our great administration are going to work tirelessly on creating the one big, beautiful bill, an appropriate name if Congress so likes. Everyone is going to be happy with the result. Passage will make even the subject of world trade far easier and better for the United States. The House must pass this budget resolution and quickly. Make America great again. We'll see if the Freedom Caucus can get on board. Now, I will say, and it's coming a little bit, Grassley won me over today. He was one of the ones that was trying to, force Trump into we got 60 days to approve tariffs, like Congress trying to rein in the power of the ability for presidents to do tariff stuff. But he did a good one on that. He walked away from that in a cool kind of way. We'll get there. White House Review says Michael Waltz accidentally saved Jeffrey Goldberg's number in his phone. It was sent to him. This is kind of interesting. So I knew there was something shady going on. The contact information was sent to him. It was texted to Waltz, who then accidentally saved the number in his phone under Hughes' contact information. So Brian Hughes, sent him this dude's contact information. And he went to save it, whether accidentally or not. He saved it, but accidentally overwrote Brian Hughes' contact information. So he thought this was Brian Hughes. It wasn't. It was this guy. It was an accident. It was easy to do. It was still, I'm wondering why Brian Hughes had sent it to him. For whatever reason that made sense or doesn't, and maybe Brian Hughes is in question right now. Again, a lot of interesting things will come from this, but that seems to be, at least, and I love the fact that Mike owned this, man. And a lot of politicians would never own it. It would somehow be Trump's fault, always, no matter what. It wouldn't even matter. Truly heinous. 7 Florida men were arrested in a global child pornography ring. 8 people were arrested, 7 of which were Florida residents. They really wanted to make sure that came out at CBS 12 News. Whatever. You got some bunch of Floridian residents that are, child porn nasty people. So there you go. But I got a bunch of people. We've been hearing a lot of those stories, and that's always good news. What is this? United States District Court, Southern District of Florida. Why does this seem like this is not? Is this what I pulled up? Oh, okay. This had to do with Ruth's crimes. Evidence of this type are not analyzed under Rule 404. Nevertheless, because the defense has not agreed and in an abundance of caution, we are filing a motion identifying these items and explaining why they are admissible. This had to do with there was something prohibits evidence about a person's other crime, wrong, or act when offered solely to prove a person's character. So they don't want to bring up this documentation. I want to say it was someone referred to him as the individual that tried to shoot Trump or tried to assassinate Trump or something like that. The guy that had the rifle pointed at Trump, whatever the case was. They had him, the way they defined them, the kind of when they pointed out or when they described the individual, they used that language that implied he had a weapon in his hand. And he doesn't like that, Ruth, because he did have a weapon in his hand, but it implies guilt because he was guilty. He had a weapon in his hand. Anyway, I don't know if this is going to go through, but it's interesting. Ryan Ruth, also on the subject, the suspect in the second alleged assassination attempt against President Trump has formally asked a judge to suppress statements from the eyewitness. Oh, this was exactly what I was just talking about. So, yeah, there you go. In a nutshell. All right, Healthy Home, guys. I love this. It's a great product, and it is making a huge difference. I got to take my pills for today. It is making a huge difference in my shoulder, for sure. It is definitely, better. I'm back to, full weights. I actually went up 10 pounds. I wasn't able to do 4 sets today. I was a little winded. But I still got it up a couple sets. And it's not hurting. It's not hurting, and I'm literally up to my highest weight, at least on the incline bench. Other stuff I'm doing good. Now the pull downs, right? The lat pull downs, not necessarily huge weight, but whatever. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Healthy Home. You go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. If you want to shop, you go to the shop tab. If you want to join, which I highly recommend, just a couple perks about joining. 1, free shipping, kind of cool. Costs you a little bit to join. You got to buy a package, and it's a pretty good deal. By the way, they package stuff up and send it all at once, and then it costs $9.99 a month for the website that you now can give people a link. But if you get 5 sales, or 5 people under you, I think it is. No, 5 sales. If you get 5 sales, I believe, you end up with free product. You get a $150 coupon, basically. So you can just have your product free just by finding 5 friends that like that product too. So it's kind of a fun way to make some money, actually, believe it or not. Also, by the way, for any of you guys that are actual members, and that's the joining people, and this is something that I'm going to be doing. Not that I'm trying to necessarily talk you into it, but I did send you guys an email yesterday. You might want to check your junk mail, or if you don't care, that's cool. But whatever you use to join, I sent an email to them just asking if you needed any assistance or if there's anything. I do have a friend that's willing to help. That's kind of an expert in this stuff, this company specifically. So that's something that I'm kind of going to be offering up to people that are members. Hopefully this becomes a large family. Right now it's not that many of you, but that's still, I sent emails to all of you. Hopefully you guys will reach out and let me know if you need any help or want to hop on a Zoom call or something like that. All said, incredible product. Stem Active gets stem cell count in your body enhanced. There's no stem cells in this product. It just helps your body create more, 25 to 40% more, a lot more. And it's all about healing. Stem cells are cells that are androgynous. They can become whatever they want, meaning if your heart's injured, your lungs injured, your muscles injured, you got cut skin, you need skin cells, you need muscle cells. That's what stem cells are. They run to the skin area and they're like, I'm a skin cell now, and they become a skin cell for the rest of their existence. Right? So it's an epic way to help with your healing. There's also a pet version of it. If you've got a pet going through surgery or some sort of injury, I actually recommend the stem cell for the pets. Otherwise, I really think Pet Club 247 is way better for just the overall, health of the animal. They've got a gel for the Stem Active or pills. I've heard the pills are large. I don't know. The lady did show me the pills she takes. And if you compare it to my head, it's not as big. No, anyway, so they're a good size. They're not tiny, I guess. Balance is a product that's supposed to really help with hormone support as we go through certain changes in our lives as we age. Hormone therapy. It's not actually any hormones in there. It's plant-based and all that stuff, and it actually just helps your body kind of deal with this in its own way, in its appropriate way. You can certainly learn more about it, but Balance, it's something that a lot of people are really raving about. And it's apparently helping some people sleep better even. I made a joke about that, and I don't actually know what's true. So it might not be that fun to make fun of. Collagen peptides is just skin, sore muscles, hair, fingernails, all that crap. Sagging skin. Yeah, peptides are what you need. Our skin gets less elastic when we have less collagen. It's the most important protein in our body. Collagen is extraordinary. This is a liquid. It gets in and it gets right into your system. Bada bing, bada boom, just like that. And it's a great way to help. AO12 is an antioxidant that helps remove antioxidants from your body. Essentially, those are the things that cause aging and all that stuff. They're not good, and you want to yank them out of your body. So this is one of those things that runs around and kind of grabs them and pulls them out of your system in a healthy way, if you will. Prime Extra Energy. This stuff's incredible. Love it. Before I work out, this is the one. If you're a gym rat in any way, shape, or form, you need the nitric oxide activator. Trust me, you're going to feel more energy. It just helps more energy travel through your blood vessels, and it will literally help out with your workout in a major way. Major way. Also supposedly helps with people that have gotten migraines because it helps expand the vessels. I still recommend salt. Get some salt in you in some way, shape, or form. Eat some chips or something. Actually, I think salt is probably a key to the imbalance on migraines. All said, go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make these healthy choices when you're trying to manifest health in your life. And also, some ways to potentially make some money, get some free product, free shipping. A lot of good stuff happens in there. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. United Sovereign Americans posted this. Apparently there's something going on with the Orange County elections. They did some actual legal statistical study here, exposed to national security disaster in which 6 U.S. House seats were voted on. A sample of 609 voter records from a population of 1.4 million voters in the 2024 election was generated based on a 90% confidence interval. They get the precision and the predicted prevalence and all this good stuff, but when it's extrapolating the sample results to the population of vote records, the following was exposed. 1.4 million total votes. The number of voters that don't even exist, there's 74,000 of them. Number of voter addresses that are invalid, there was 86,000. Number of social security numbers that do not exist or is duplicated, 60,000+ of those. Vote to voter discrepancy was 76,584. So yeah, basically total improper votes. They're saying there's about 297,000 improper votes. It's about 21% of all votes cast. That would definitely change. Steve Garvey would now be the senator, not Schiff. And a number of other things would have changed, for sure. That's huge. And what they're saying up in here, these elections must be immediately re-administered as a matter of national security and sovereignty. This is law enforcement compliant evidence. AG Pam Bondi, Director Kash Patel, POTUS, Elon Musk, and Speaker Johnson. It's like, look, guys, this is literally what's happening. It's another seat we'd pick up, plus probably a few more in the House. North Carolina Appeals Court finds merit in the GOP challenge of the nation's last unsettled election. They were literally doing this thing. This is kind of, interesting how this is playing out. 3-judge panel, they said that this appeal court, they ordered the State Board of Elections to recalculate the nation's only unresolved election. There were 15,000 or 30,000 votes that were missing some key data points. And they're like, yeah, you guys can dig into this. See if I got this right. 8-year term set to be decided. Yeah, there's literally a Senate seat in the hold on this. Announced oral arguments. They want to give 15 business days after notice for missing data in registration records of voters to be filled out. And oversee voters not providing photo identification as required by law to do so. So there's like a bunch of votes that they're talking about yanking out. Just literally, you got 15 days to take care of this or else. Now, what's kind of interesting is the North Carolina Supreme Court on Monday said, we're putting a hold on this appellate decision that you're going to take these 60,000 votes, give them 15 days to establish voter eligibility or else the ballots are out. They said no, it was a 2-1 decision. Now, what I'm wondering is, do they just go a different direction on this? Because the judge initially was like, all right, because he did this out of abundance of caution and to be fair to the people. Because these are illegitimate votes, and he was trying to give them a chance to cure them. And basically the Supreme Court says, no, you can't do that. So what's to stop him from now going, okay, then we're just going to remove those 60,000 votes. Those must now be removed from the voter records. You need to adjust the numbers accordingly. Since they are not legitimate votes, that's how it is. We won't even give them a chance to fix it. Now, that would be that's what should happen next. And I'd be curious if they still throw that out. They're just going to take voter records that didn't follow the law. They didn't follow the law. So what's the point of the Supreme Court? One's got to wonder. A former Wisconsin State Supreme Court justice who spread election conspiracies. This is this guy. You guys remember him, the judge that was totally helping us out? Totally helping us out. He was doing, Michael Gableman was the guy's name. Basically, they're going to take away his law license for like 3 years. Like a small little slap on the wrist. He's like, all right, whatever. And basically his point was like, I can't prove like the opposite of what they're claiming he did. Like, you were intentionally messing with the election results. And he's like, I didn't believe they were accurate. We had information that suggested that. Like, I was fighting for that. And they're like, can you prove it? It's like, well, no, but that's what I was trying to do the whole time. And they're like, well, if you can't prove it, then you're going to lose your license. And he's like, okay. All right. So we'll see what happens, how this plays out. This is obviously a state thing. So Pam Bondi can't help, it's out of her jurisdiction. Donald Trump truthed this out. Highly respected former Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Michael Gableman, who has headed a major investigation into voter fraud, has strongly suggested that the state legislators seek to decertify the election results. Now, Trump posted this back on July 9th, 2022. And here we are, Gableman finally being busted. Governor Abbott schedules Texas special election after Democrats threaten lawsuit. Especially, apparently he was dragging his feet a little bit. Oh, that was accident. That's whoops. He's probably not dragging his feet. Could be though, I guess, technically, if he doesn't get them on those little platforms. And I'm not trying to be a dick. That's horrible. It came out on accident. It was just oddly funny. But yes, Hot Wheels. That was still kind of funny too. I will be honest. That was actually kind of funny. It was mean, but it was funny. So anyway, yes, they are very likely going to file a lawsuit. Abbott's been slow walking the special election. This is actually, I think, costing them a seat. in the House, and that's probably why he's been enjoying the fact that they've got less of a majority or less people to fight. I think you've actually got a majority of Republicans in Texas House, I think, don't you? I know you guys are becoming very blue, but I don't think you're there yet. Senate Elizabeth Warren, Senator, I should call her, Democrat, Massachusetts, called on Senator Tim Scott, a Republican from South Carolina, to hold a hearing to investigate how President Trump is implementing his tariff policy. So again, Trump's being fought by a lot of people. We'll see where it goes. I mean, these people don't really have any real power. Former Justice Department officials that have been fired have now talked to this little secret shadow government group of people. They don't have any power. They can't actually force people to come talk to them. So anybody that essentially hates Trump and wants to go talk to them, they're like, yeah, we'll interview you because we want to be fair to justice and freedom and democracy. So whatever. Those guys are... And it's skin and shiffy shiff. Just as tards. Top Democrats request details on the White House communication with targeted law firms. So Senator Richard Blumenthal and Rep. Jamie Raskin are asking law firms that were targeted by the Trump administration to, hey, come talk to us. We'll see what we can help you accomplish, basically is what they're saying. We're going to try to keep Trump from doing this. Now, you can see who they're trying to protect. And, of course, it's Raskin and Richard Blumenthal and Adam Schiff, right? It's all of our standard stupid friends. Feds are revoking student visas without notifying colleges. Colleges are just finding out that certain people are no longer allowed to be there. I guess once they finally check a database that the government allows them access to. I think that's kind of funny because these are definitely students that are no longer going to be going to that school. They're losing money that way too. So I think there's a lot of fun things happening right now. You've got a number of schools that were cheating the system big time and part of the problem and allowed the anti-Semitism to occur on campus, allowing people to radicalize and probably promoting it. Little universities teaching people how to be little dicks. So yeah, they're going to have some student loss, it seems. Maine is suing the USDA over funding freeze. They're mad they're losing their money. They're going to sue. Big whoop. Expect that, right? Homeland Security Chief offers staff 3 choices to depart. It's pretty cool. They were asked to consider voluntarily resigning, retiring, or taking a buyout of as much as $25,000 under a new voluntary workforce transition program intended to slash the department's staff. Why? So here's the thing. If you have the option to resign voluntarily or get paid $25,000 to resign, I mean, wouldn't you take the 25 grand? I mean, retiring maybe, sure, that's a different thing altogether, or not and risk being fired. But yeah, it's seems interesting. They've got till April 14th to figure it out, which is, I don't know if this is going to, I mean, they're just offering people the opportunity to quit. I don't see how that could possibly end up in court. We'll see. Kash Patel puts more Biden-era ATF rules in the crosshair. Let's see. They noted the zero-tolerance policy was instituted and weaponized during the Biden administration. That was the one that's like if gun people that sell guns, I guess, or the gun stores, I guess. If they don't do all the documentation exactly perfectly, they can lose their gun license. Like that, he's basically said, no, we're stripping that. And then they're also looking very closely at the issue with the pistol brace and what was the other one? The ATF's engaged in the business rule. I don't know what that exactly has to do with, but yeah. They're trying to revoke some of this stuff, and they're looking very tough at it. See, the engaged in the business rules, a regulatory gun control instituted by Biden's ATF, designed to expand the requirements for and occurrence of point-of-sale firearm background checks. The stabilizer brace rule was also instituted by Biden's ATF and turned lawfully purchased AR pistols with stabilizer braces into short-barrel rifles, requiring NFA regulatory oversight and compliance, which I still don't believe that's true. It's just a pistol with a frickin' brace on it. The barrel didn't change. Isn't that part of what makes a rifle a rifle? Maybe I'm wrong on that. You can do a shorter barrel rifle, I guess, too, but whatever. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not smart enough with that crap. Hell, I didn't. Yeah, I'm stupid most of the time. Department of Homeland Security gave U.S. Customs and Border Protection permission to ignore environmental and land regulations and immediately begin constructing the border wall. This is in California. So California, they're all into this regulatory stuff with the environmental and all that. And basically, the administration, Kristi Noem specifically, said, no, we're going to ignore that. Says the government, because it's our border, California, bite me. And we are going to be putting the walls in, which is awesome. They're going to bypass environmental rules to build the 2.5 miles of barriers in Jacumba Hot Springs and in San Diego. So good stuff on that. Hopefully make us safer. Senior CIA official who facilitated Biden's military COVID-19 vaccine mandate has been fired. Aderim, she's a former senior Biden appointee at the Department of Defense who was performing the duties of the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs. She decamped in December to the CIA as Director of CIA Centers for Global Health Services until about a week ago. Yeah, her firing was related to her role in forcing service members to choose between taking a vaccine that was under emergency use authorization or being kicked out, according to the source. Who knows if it's true, but she's probably fired. I think we feel pretty certain about that. Former law clerk to the federal judge who dismissed the classified documents case against President Trump is now serving in the Justice Department directly under Trump's former defense lawyer, Todd Blanche. It's pretty cool. Guy that was basically there helping out all along. He was a clerk, but he was helping all along, trying to keep Trump out of trouble. And so this man is getting paid back for that, which is very, very cool. Now we got some fun stuff around the Supremes going on. Mr. Roberts has been involved in a few things, and like I said, Clarence Thomas, you're going to love it. Chief Justice John Roberts pauses the order for Trump administration to return man mistakenly deported to El Salvador prison. Not only paused it, he paused it for good. This is Boasberg's thing. It is paused. Boasberg's done in this case. Chief Justice Roberts has indefinitely blocked the court order requiring Kilmar Abrego Garcia's return tonight. Oh, this was a different one. This wasn't even Boasberg. But yeah, that's done. Indefinitely blocked it. Can't force him to bring him back. It's not happening. This was the Venezuelan, I think, that with the administrative clerical error, right? Sorry. He's like, nope. You can't force him to do it. It's not happening. We are indefinitely blocking that. Supreme Court has granted the Trump administration authority to continue deporting Venezuelan nationals suspected of being affiliated with Tren de Aragua criminal organizations. That's done. Trump has allowed this, maybe the Boasberg one, whatever. Boasberg's done. Trump's allowed to continue doing that, and the courts don't get a chance to decide. And by the way, from what I understand, Department of Homeland Security is who decides, or Border Patrol, the Border Patrol is who gets to decide whether or not they're Tren de Aragua. And that's good enough for Trump. Trump said, look, if you decide that they're Tren de Aragua, send them on their way. Send them on their way. Based on SCOTUS opinion vacating Jeb Boasberg's ban. There we go, Jeb. I like that. It was cute. Jeb, I don't think that's his real name, is it? Is that his first name? Maybe it is. I thought it was kind of a stab back on Bush. But anyway, based on SCOTUS's opinion vacating Jeb Boasberg's ban on deporting Alien Enemies Act illegals, Trump DOJ asked Boasberg to cancel tomorrow's hearing and dismiss the case, basically saying this. Feels good, doesn't it? Supreme Court backs Trump for now on fired probationary federal employees. Dude, the Supreme's got busy. So he's like, yeah. You can keep several thousand, you can keep them fired, basically, several of those probationary period people. Nope, sorry. Blocking the lower court's ruling requiring the government to temporarily reinstate more than 16,000 people. In the brief 2-paragraph order, court said that the unions who filed the litigation didn't have standing to sue. The decision didn't address the merits of the arguments, and it is not final word on whether the employees will be allowed to keep their jobs. But it will have a significant impact on both the workers and the agencies in the meantime. Basically saying, yeah, screw you. Only 2 liberal justices apparently dissented, Sotomayor and Jumanji. Let's just call her Jumanji. It's easier. Come on. Don't make me say all that. The Internal Revenue Service has agreed to help Homeland Security officials find immigrants they are trying to deport. Essentially, if there's people that they want to deport, they want to be able to do a search in IRS and see what they can find out from there. Also probably find out whether or not they're getting payments and stuff like that. Basically, the courts have said, yeah, they can do that. They can't just look at everything. But if you've got specific situations, then the IRS needs to let them have access to some of that information. Clarence Thomas, friggin' goat, man. He is truly. But this is the breaking news that was put out. Justice Clarence Thomas is expected to approve the impeachment inquiries of 5 leftist lower court judges in his district. He's literally going to consider hearing whether or not they should be impeached. Now, again, high crimes, misdemeanors, I don't know if it's going to reach that, so maybe Clarence Thomas is like the one that's like, all right, I'll shut this up for the nation. They'll trust me if I do it. Maybe they actually impeach him. Who knows? I don't know. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. That should be super interesting. The Trump administration is going to substantially increase payment rates for Medicare insurers next year, generating more than $25 billion in additional revenue for the industry and doubling the boost proposed in January. Initially, you guys were going to get 2.23%. Now you're going to get 5.06% more stuff in your Medicaid. So that's pretty freaking awesome, I think. If you're older, if you're younger, that sucks. But yeah, it is what it is, right? Loving the wellness company, guys. This is just a solid way to keep yourself healthy, especially as we pursue some of the craziness that's going on. A lot of supplements, and they're actually all reasonably priced. Great products, immune support, yada, yada, everything, right? Heart health, restful sleep, all this. Also got the med kits. These are the ones that I really, really highly recommend. I love the Contagion one because that's your viral. That's your one-stop shop for viral. Medical kits are really, really cool. I mean, if you've got the means, I would highly recommend you get a few of these things because then you can kind of be ready for everything. First aid is always a must, especially if you have kids. They probably don't have a first aid kit. It's kind of a good gift, I'm just saying. They also have younger kids' versions. They have a travel emergency kit as well for the car. Again, a lot of things that are very important to have in general that most of us don't think about, like fire extinguishers kind of thing. That said, Contagion is the bad boy when it comes to viral protection. You've got your ivermectin, you've got your hydroxychloroquine, you've got azithromycin, you've got generic Tamiflu, you've got budesonide, which is essentially an asthma medication. But if you've got like a severe upper respiratory infection, this bad boy, you got 5 of these vials. It will open you up. You will be able to breathe again. Doctors prescribe this, and you're taking Ivers and hydroxy at the same time. So if you've somehow let that infection get that bad, this should kick it around in the other direction quickly. The nebulizer and the budesonide are going to really help kind of buy a little time, if you will. I've been amazed at the results I've seen whenever I've used the Ivers. I think it's a powerful product. You can get not free refills, sorry. They're discounted refills, and it's up to 2 years or something like that. Like, it's a pretty sweet deal. So check it out. That's definitely one. And then finally, the biggest one that I can't get away from at all is the ivermectin mebendazole. And it's a parasite cleanse. And it is only available in U.S. residents right now. They cannot ship to P.O. boxes or military addresses, so apologies to anybody that's trying to get it outside of the normal ways, but I'm sure it's being, especially in other countries, they don't like this because this gives you an opportunity to truly cleanse your body of parasites. And for those of you that really, really understand how significant that actually can be, this is a power hitter, powerful stuff. You've got ivermectin and mebendazole happening at the same time, and it's 25 milligrams of ivermectin. It's like a pretty hearty dose, plus 250 milligrams of mebendazole. Again, highly recommend this if you've got any of the things that parasites are being attributed to right now. And if you don't know what that is and you've got some sicknesses in your life, do a little digging on parasites and things like that, and you'll begin to understand why this is a must. twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. Use that coupon code OTF. You're helping out the channel, of course, giving yourself a nice discount and saving your life for sure. twc.health/OTF. Make that healthy choice, that healthy decision, because it's going to save your life or your family's life. This is where Grassley, I thought, did a good job. So Chuck Grassley, who co-sponsored the bipartisan legislation to limit President Trump's trade authority, said Tuesday that he thinks Congress has delegated too much authority to the president. Said, I made very clear throughout my public service that I am free and fair trader. The Constitution gives Congress the authority to regulate interstate and foreign commerce. I believe that Congress delegated too much authority to the president in the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 and the Trade Act of 1974. That said, I support President Trump's agenda to lower tariffs and non-tariff barriers other countries impose on American goods. I support President Trump's agenda to get a better deal from China and other countries for our farmers and manufacturers. Thank you, Grassley. Thank you for showing all those people in Congress how to disagree with Trump, yet still do the right thing. I think it's powerful. It's like the thing with Luna, right? Like sometimes you're just like, I disagree with this, but let's move forward. I'm not going to let this be a deal breaker on me. Trump's cool with this. All right, fine, whatever. I think sometimes a lot of us are putting up our dukes because we want to defend Trump, right? But in reality, we sometimes maybe are getting away or making things more complex than they need to be. Sometimes we make mountains out of molehills. We decide we're going to die on one of these stupid mountains. That's not even a real mountain. And Trump's like, no, seriously, that's just you guys. We've been flicking dirt on that thing. It got really big. There's no reason for you to feel like you got to conquer it, right? U.S. Admiral at NATO fired. Yes, Navy Vice Admiral Shoshana Chatfield. I'm going to be honest. I made some assumptions with the first name. Don't know. I didn't look her up. I'm assuming it's a her. It's probably a DEI hire, right? Don't you think? She holds a senior position at NATO. She's been fired. That's it. Period. End of story. Trump is serious about, bringing back respect. That's for sure. The High Court, the High Court of Justice is going to hear petitions today against the Israeli government's dismissal of Shin Bet. Now, to my understanding, and this is probably not really in the right place, I think I've got the rest of this story somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, let's do this. I think this is right. Nope. One more, Danny boy. Israeli High Court suspends Netanyahu's firing. So he's not allowed to fire this guy, right? They were going to finally hear it. They did finally hear it. And the High Court said, yeah, no, you can't fire him, at least right now. Let's see. He said decision came out, 10-head court hearing multiple petitions that they listened to. Let's see. The Israeli premier's cabinet voted unanimously to fire Barr several weeks ago. Let's see. Netanyahu. Barr submitted a letter. Where's the, what did they say? How long is this going to go? They allow the government and the attorney general who's in the case to come to an agreed creative solution by April 20th. Otherwise, they indicted or indicated that they'll issue a ruling at a still unknown time. So they're going to allow the government's attorney general to figure out how to handle this. The government's choice to try to remove has been a problem, and a lot of it has to do with how he handled October 7th, at least. It really has to do with Trump, or Netanyahu doesn't trust him. And he's probably one of the deep state people, this dude he's trying to fire, right? The Shin Bet guy. We'll see. We'll see what's up. He's part of the Mossad, right? Isn't he like the head of that? So that's a pretty serious dude. And obviously they're not letting him fire him, so that tells you they're treating Israel much like they treat, Trump, right? And treating Netanyahu much the same. American billionaire granted USAID funds for Gaza project, allegedly funneled cash to Hamas for terror tunnels. Yeah, this is not good. This guy literally was taking U.S. aid money as a Palestinian-American billionaire, Bashar Masri, and he's being accused, we'll see what happens, of funneling U.S. aid money into building this underground bunker that was used by the Houthis and Hamas, I guess, or specifically more Hamas, different parts of the world, different sections of that area, I should say. This was the allegedly rebuilt the Gaza Industrial Estate, the GIE as they call it. It's a 480,000 square meter industrial park that had been established in 1997 with support from U.S. aid. He turned it into a hub of Hamas operations, including for the tourist tunnel network, which was used to cross under the border to attack Israelis. So they're starting to bust some major players for a lot of this stuff, especially the U.S. aid money and the stuff that was being used for. All right, we got some President Trump stuff. This was a really good interview, by the way, the Netanyahu. I listened to it. It was very good. The whole thing is worth the listen. It was about 40 minutes or so. It's funny, is my girlfriend woke up when I was listening to it. She loves listening to Trump talk, so she was just sitting there with her eyes closed listening. She's like, is he done talking? Oh, she was all bummed. Anyway, Trump talked about a number of good things. We'll get to them.
About Iran, because this is the first time we hear that the U.S. is having a direct contact with the Iranians. Is it possible to give us some more information at what level the U.S. is
High level,
represented?
very high level.
And
we're dealing with the Iranians. We have a very big meeting on Saturday, and we're dealing with them directly. You know, a lot of people say, oh, maybe you're going through surrogates or you're not dealing directly, you're dealing through other countries. No, we're dealing with them directly, and maybe a deal is going to be made. That would be great. It'll be really great for Iran, I can tell you that. But hopefully, we're not going to have to get into that. We are meeting very importantly on Saturday at almost the highest level, and we'll see how it works out. Please.
Yeah, she was trying to get names and stuff, but he wasn't exactly giving away all that info. Here is Hegseth. It's a pretty cool little answer, and Hegseth did well, I think, on the fly. I like it. I think that's where a lot of these guys are. You got to have some form of experience talking to the public just on the fly and being able to cover and change and dodge and ebb and flow and all that crap. Here is, I think, Pete Hegseth doing a great job.
It's been a bad 3 weeks for the Houthis, and it's about to get worse. It's been a devastating campaign, whether it's underground facilities, weapons manufacturing, bunkers, troops in the open, air defense assets. We are not going to relent. And it's only to get more unrelenting until the Houthis declare they will stop shooting at our ships. And we've been very clear with the Iranians as well. They should not continue to provide support to the Houthis, and that message has been made very clear. So we have a lot more options and a lot more pressure to apply, and we know, because we see the reports, how devastating this campaign has been in them, and we will not relent. It's been
I love how Marco Rubio literally is his expressions, right? He is damn near she level when it comes to expressions. This is Marco Rubio sad. This is Marco Rubio happy. This is Marco Rubio sexy. This is Marco Rubio concerned. Here's Marco Rubio, I'm sleepy. Here's Marco Rubio, I'm happy. I love it. I love these guys. By the way, and that's what you want from someone doing his job. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm making fun, sure, because it's fun as hell. But outside of that, here's more stuff.
I will say this. Virtually every country wants to negotiate. If I didn't do what I did over the last couple of weeks, you wouldn't have anybody wants to negotiate. We would have gone to these countries, you want to talk? And they were, well, we don't want to talk. Now they're coming to us. They're offering things like even Bibi, and this is unrelated because it's a different kind of a relationship, but he started off our conversation today that he's cutting all of the tariffs, he's cutting everything, he's going to get down to a free base, he's going to do things that, in all fairness, other countries, if they said that, would have never even thought about doing it. Now they're offering things to us that we would have never even thought of asking them for because they're experiencing a lot of hurt. And the hurt is that they've taken advantage of us and we finally fought back. Tariffs will make this country very rich. We're rich anyway, but we're rich in a certain way. We have $36 trillion in debt. I want to get rid of it. And we can do it quickly with proper deals. So when countries don't allow us to sell our product, but we allow them to sell their product, when they charge us massive amounts of money for the privilege of going into their country, those days are over.
Yeah, those days are long over. So Trump is changing the world, unquestionably. He is changing the nature, the game, the board. Like he's somehow managed to figure out how to pass go and collect $200 every go round. He's also planning on signing an executive order Tuesday aimed at boosting the struggling U.S. coal industry. Now, this is going to piss off a lot of people. But one of the big factoids that was brought up during this whole meeting that I didn't play the whole interview because it's 40 minutes long, but it talked about how, I think it was this meeting anyway, somewhere I heard this, but Germany is building one coal plant a week. Is it a week or a month? Let's say a month even. Let's say a month. I think it's more than that. I think it's a week, actually. They're building coal plants like they're going out of style because they're easy to make, coal's abundant, and it's a quick way to get power because what they did and how they've relied on the EU and this Green New Deal nonsense, they're now screwed. They don't have enough power. China's doing twice that. Twice what I've been, I think it's 2 a week, but whatever. China is building power like it's going out of style as well. Now, again, all the environmental people, well, the United States has to stop. Germany's not stopping, right? And China's not stopping. Why should we tie our hands behind our back it's not making a big difference. China is belching out gobs of pollution, way more than we are. And we're worried about destroying ourselves. And nobody else cares. And by the way, if you want to talk about the science, China has scientists too. I'll bet you if those Chinese scientists thought in some way, shape, or form all that pollution was actually killing the planet quickly, they'd probably do things differently too. But they're not. They know they're killing their people. The soot's nasty. I don't even think they do clean coal. Our coal's super clean. Now, here's the thing, too. It's, again, coal plants are an easy way to get localized small power distribution without having the pain in the ass of nuclear, essentially. So this is an easy way. 2, for a lot of the industries that are coming in, this is one of the things that Trump was also talking about, they're going to build their own power stations, literally. Now, I don't know if any of those are going to be nuclear, I hope, at least for some of the bigger projects, or at least maybe projects that are going to be in local areas that are close to each other. Maybe they do have a nuclear plant nearby that they can feed to both of those and likely surrounding areas. But we have decimated ourselves in our ability to produce electricity, and wanting to have AI and a lot of the automation and a lot of factories. They've been killing us. Biden and everybody's been killing us when it's come to how much power production we do. So this is changing, and it needs to. So again, the coal, is it better or worse? I don't know. If we do have a problem, like with the magnetic fields or something, and we literally have a problem where like maybe a bunch of people die in a short period of time, like if something like that does happen, nuclear power plants are going to be a huge problem for this world. That's my only fear with them. Is like, if you don't maintain them, they break very quickly. And if they break, it creates a huge problem. Huge problem. So, yeah, that's not something you want to see smoldering in the distance, especially if the wind's coming your way, right? So that's the only thing I have. And if we're going to keep going for another 150 plus years, then cool. Let's add some more. Let's add some more of those. We've got a couple things of JFK talking about fluoride, or RFK Jr. Sorry, I don't know why I keep calling him JFK. Probably because the JFK files came out, and that's now on the tip of our brains. But here is 2 different videos of RFK Jr. talking about fluoride and how it might be time to friggin' finally take that out of our dang water.
Fluoride should not be in our water. Fluoride had a strong justification in the 1940s when it was added, and people didn't understand the science, and they thought its benefit to our teeth was systemic. And by drinking it, it would enter your body and somehow protect your teeth. Now we know that there is no systemic advantage, 0 systemic advantage, and that the only advantage comes from topical application. So it's the water that passes through your mouth. You can achieve that benefit from brushing your teeth. And in the era of fluoridated toothpastes and mouthwashes, it makes no sense to have fluoride in our water. The evidence against fluoride is overwhelming. In animals, in animal models, and in human models, we know that it causes IQ loss, profound IQ loss, and it's dose-related. So if the more fluoride you get, the higher levels in your drinking water, your urine, the more likely it is you will lose IQ, and also other neurological injuries like ADHD. It affects, science indicates that it affects kidney health, it affects liver health, that it causes hypothyroidism, that it causes osteoarthritis. Women who are more exposed have up to 50% more hip fractures than women who are unexposed. It causes fluoridasis in between 40 and 80% of our kids. It makes no sense to have it in our water supply. And I'm very, very proud of this state for being the first state to ban it, and I hope many more will come.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think he goes into it a little further, I'm hoping this is different, because he's talking about how Europe's already banned this.
Decision.
And it's not like they've got, like, cavity problems.
In Europe, most of the nations have already banned fluoride, and their cavities have not increased. And, there's no way to measure without some kind of observational study an increase in IQ until many years down the road. When the indicators are that fluoride damages IQ in the same way that leaded gasoline, at about the same level it does. And we saw about a 2-point IQ nationally, a 2-point IQ hike after about 20 years after the ban on leaded gasoline. We will see a difference, and people will be healthier. I think I read it most carefully in the last couple of years, and the science involved. The National Toxicity Program issued its report in August, and that report was devastating. And I don't think, I think we need to apply the precautionary principle in this country that we should do no harm, and it clearly is doing harm. I mean, the trade-off is IQ loss in kids, and we can't afford that. In this country, we need all the brain power that we can to handle the challenges of the future. And then the other health impacts, which are less clearly documented in the science because they have not been completely well studied, but they are alarming enough so that we shouldn't be demanding that parents accept something for their children in their homes that is essentially a medication. They can go to the drugstore and they can get toothpaste. If you want to apply it in your home, you can. You can get mouthwash. And I believe, and I think it's a moral imperative that we all believe in freedom of choice in this country. It is one of the bedrock principles of our democracy that the government shouldn't be making decisions, intimate decisions about our own lives. And, and then just the science is overwhelming on it now. It doesn't make any sense.
One of the big things, too, that's always fun about the whole fluoride thing is, like you said, 1940, when was that? Yeah, that was right when we were starting the whole atomic bomb, getting heavy in the atomic bomb, right? It's a big part. It and supposedly like manure, basically. When you, help with the crops, help them grow. That, I think, is also, fluoride is also somehow used in that process as well. But fluoride's definitely used in the nuclear weapons process heavily. And we were getting a lot of this extra fluoride out of the deal. And because of that, or it was a byproduct, I think, something to that effect. And because of that, they needed a way to deal with it. It's like one of the problems with desalinization, by the way. It is the biggest problem with desalinization, that we've got ocean all over the place, and it's awesome, right? All you got to do is boil the water, and boom, you got clean water, literally. Like, it's that easy. You need energy. Power plants will help that for sure. But what do you do with all the salt? It's a lot of salt. If you dump it back in the ocean, any place you dump it's going to be heavily salinated, which would kill a lot of fish. So you can't just dump it in one spot. So what, do you put it on ships that just slowly release it as they cross the ocean? Maybe. Like, it's a problem that needs to be dealt with. And fluoride was kind of the same thing. And they're like, let's just stick it in the water and tell them it's good for their teeth. And they're like, oh, that's brilliant. So, yeah, we've been poisoning ourselves because of convenience. CIA, and they were charging, I think, for it, which is like, this is a byproduct, and we're making money off it. It's fantastic. CIA is reviewing its authorities to use lethal force against drug cartels. There's all sorts of talk right now about attacks on the drug cartels. I assume some of it's meant to cause fear in them. I'm sure some of it's true. And then I've seen some that's just trying to invoke fear and paranoia and or possibly incite people within this country to violence. The EU is already sharpening its knives against Hungary. They're planning on stripping Hungary's voting rights because he's one, of course, pro-Trump. He's pro what Trump is doing. And he's anti-war with Ukraine. And, well, he's basically on the same side as Trump. So they're literally talking about taking away their voting rights, just stripping them. And this is how democracy works. If we don't like what you say, we'll silence you. That's democracy. To them. Right? We got to save democracy. We got to silence Hungary. That is democracy. Hungary doing what they're doing. We can't get stuff done. That's democracy. U.S. deploys a third of its stealth bomber fleets for a possible Iran strike. One thing I was mostly sharing this for, I kind of already talked about this, but it's kind of cool. This is one image from Diego Garcia, and it does show that the sixth one did make it. So it had some sort of maintenance problem. Obviously, they got the maintenance handled, and they flew all the way the rest of the way. So, or at least we ended up with the sixth craft, and maybe that other one went back home. Whatever the case is, we've sent a good chunk of our essentially most prized weapon to the Iranian strike zone. Now, there was a cool little breakdown here. It talks about how Iran can strike us back. And they can, maybe. But we are so on the outskirts of their range. And it would have to literally be like right on the coast. So if Iran starts loading up a bunch of rockets and shit on the coast, you think we're going to let that sit that? Like, we're not going to let them do that. We'd see them doing it from 100 miles away. Or further. Well, maybe. I don't know how far spy satellites are, but 100 miles not too terribly outside of the realm. So if they started loading up a bunch of crap right on the coast, we'd notice. Otherwise, it's going to be too far. They can't launch stuff from way the hell up in here. It's too far. It's the outskirts of their range. This thing's 2,485 miles. They're at 2,390 from the coast. So what? The drone can go an extra. I mean, they might be able to adjust it and go a little further, but not much. 2,485 is also the supposed max range, I should say, of their Mashar ballistic missile. So again, this is their plan. They're going to hit us back. No, they're not. No, they're not. First off, most of those probably wouldn't make the max range. Probably not. Second off, there's no way they're going to be able to. Maybe they could get a bunch of drones off. I don't know. Those are pretty small. They might be able to drive a bunch of trucks or something. But even still, anything that looks kind of weird, like in numbers, I don't think we're going to let happen. A-10s have been having some fun over in the this part of the world as well, which is definitely a feared aircraft for anybody that lives in a tank or on the ground or in any sort of armored vehicle. Yeah, you don't want one of those flying anywhere near you. That's for darn sure. Now, here's Zelensky causing more problems, it seems. Now, I'm taking a little bit of word from somebody, but I think it's probably accurate, but I don't know. Could be wrong. But this is what is being put out by Ukraine. 2 Chinese citizens captured during fighting in eastern Ukraine, Zelensky says. So the Chinese are helping the Russians, is what they're saying. Which means, West, we got to go to war with China, I guess, now, too, right, Zelensky? Or because China's fighting in the war, we need to give you weapons? Is that it? So we can fight China also, even though you've not done a good job fighting Russia? So why would we continue to kill your people just so you can continue to get rich? I don't think it's going to happen. But what we're maybe finding out from Tori says, and again, if it's true, I don't know. I hope. She's pretty good about looking stuff up like this. She's pretty good with crap like this. So I kind of feel like she might be on the number. But she says it looks like at Zelensky UA is watching what we have been doing all these months. Well, this alleged Chinese soldier is his. This is Wang Kong. I hope that's really his name. That's so cool. Everybody Wang Kong tonight. Everybody Wang Kong tonight. Everybody Wang Kong tonight. Anyway, if that's his name, he's part of an Azov battalion, not Russia. My report now has expanded to FBI. Ruth spooked them. But we have it all. So this guy might even be tied in with Ruth, which I think is kind of where she's going with that, without necessarily directly going there, because that might be illegal or something for her. Taiwan says that China is using generative AI to ramp up disinformation and divide the island. Big time. They also use TikTok for this exact same fair reason. So again, main reason, I don't care about posting on TikTok as much as I care about like spending a lot of time watching stuff on TikTok. I don't spend any time watching stuff on TikTok because the algorithm is by China, and it's for the most part meant to push you into a direction. That's what they do, and they're experts at it. You will never ever realize I can stop it. No, you can't. No, you can't. It's like me with the shorts. I think that about that, and I literally got to be like, no, stop it. The shorts are addictive. Freaking hate them. Kind of do. I've gotten a lot better, believe it or not. It's kind of funny. I like get mad at myself because I literally can very easily sink out. I always watch this one because there's a bunch of people I like that do shorts. And I'll just watch this one, and then you're like freaking 5 in, and you're like, damn it, you did it again. It's like, it's brutal. It's like doing heroin. You're like, nah, I can take a taste. I'll be fine, man. I'm okay. I can take it. Yeah, no. What do you need? $5? Right? Former top vaccine regulator says he's blocked RFK Jr.'s team from the database. Yeah, this is Food and Drug Administration guy. He's trying to block him out of the VAERS database because he's going to make changes. Well, anyway, I think this dude's been fired. He's not allowed to do that. He headed, past tense, the Center for Biologics and Evaluation and Research before being ousted in March, told the Associated Press that, of course, he was blocking him. He was doing the good thing, which is what the deep state bastards do. So that's cool. Whatever. It didn't work, but he tried. 2 U.S. lawmakers urge White House to end the UK data treaty after Apple backdoor order. So they're trying to actually pull back on the abilities for UK to be able to spy on U.S. citizens. This seems like they're starting to mess with the Five Eyes stuff a little bit, and this might be some of the public stuff we're hearing about it. This backdoor thing with Apple, they're talking about the encryption, but they kind of do a poor job of explaining it because most people would assume they're talking about hacking the phones themselves or giving a backdoor to the phones themselves. The story, at least initially, whether that was never true or not, I don't know, but the story had to do with the iCloud storage. And England's like, look, you got to give us the encryption keys so we can actually look at English people's stuff in iCloud, to make sure they're not doing anything they shouldn't be. And Apple was like, how about this? We're just not going to encrypt anything that's for British people because of what you're saying. We're not going to let you spy on everybody's stuff. And that's exactly what they were angling for. And England's not happy about it, so we're basically talking about doing something to retaliate or maybe adjust our trust with England because we know we can't. And we know that England is trying to, and I'm not saying England's our enemy, don't get me wrong, the Crown probably is, but they were going to spy on everybody. This is the Mossad, this is the MI6, this is CIA, this is all the same shit. Five Eyes just been using this to spy on Americans. They just ask, Canada to do it. And then if Canada spies on an American citizen, well, the U.S. government didn't. We didn't do it. So we'll see. I don't know I feel like it's lip service probably, but we'll see what actually comes from it. Instagram users under 16 will need parental consent for live streams. Some messages, Meta says, apparently a lot of stuff's going to get blurred out. I don't know. I think it's interesting that it's only under 16, not under 18, which, whatever. That's fine. I don't know. It is what it is. 16's like, it's just an interesting age. Technically, you're adult at 18, so why 16? Whatever. It's okay, I guess, if we go after them for that last 2 years of their childhood. It's still pedophilia, but not as bad, which is where a lot of the laws happen, by the way. It's like, I don't know, under 16 for sure, but I think it's 13 and under frequently. It's worse, I guess. It's all bad, but especially taking advantage of somebody. Whatever. I don't like Instagram either. A lot of fun, Dan. You're a lot of fun. Everybody loves to be around you. Cassie Ventura is going to testify against Sean Diddy Combs. So she's the one that got hit by him in the video, in the pictures we've seen, right? Where he just beat down on her, basically. I don't know, where's the picture? It's not in here? There it is. There it is. Yeah, he just comes out and just wallops her. Does he pull her back or not? Does she get back up? I think he just hits her and then leaves. Yeah, anyway, that's he's a bad dude, this guy. We've seen him be a bad dude. This is cool. She's had to actually expose who her name was, and she's literally the first hidden victim one is what they were calling her, number one. So she was the first one that started this whole thing, and she's like, yeah, I'll come out. Everybody knows about it anyway. It's on camera. So she's going after him. So I thought was cool. I don't know, step in the right direction. This is weird, scares me a little bit. I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just because I got confirmation bias from Jurassic Park. Who knows? It just seems like a bad idea. Animals go extinct. Doesn't mean you should bring them back. Well, they did. They actually did. The dire wolf. They call it the dire wolf. Doesn't that seem like kind of like a bad name? Right? I don't know. Just saying. But the dire wolf has not been brought back from has not been brought. Wait, no. The dire wolf has not been brought back from extinction. Oh. But they're actually gray wolves with genetic edits intended to make them resemble the lost species. All right, I got. They hooked me on this. This was clickbait. They got me. All right, they got me. That hurt. Ouch. I thought they literally actually created it. I saw the story all over the place. I'm like, fine, I'll talk about it. Oh, it was clickbait the whole damn time. Yeah, gummit. All right, whatever. Sorry, guys. Happens. Whatever. World's changing fast. Sometimes you don't get as much time with stories as you probably need. We've got a lot happening, though. The economy's going to be an interesting thing for a little bit. Just hang tight, be strong, don't do anything rational at this point. For the most part, you've had a chance. I mean, again, some of you guys, like the Goldco thing, DRSlikesgold.com, get the ball rolling if you want. Don't pull the pin if it's a bad idea. You're going to know the second you sign it, that's the moment it's all happening, right? Like within a short period of time of that, because they've got the best support, they've got the best number of suppliers and everything. I mean, right now it makes sense, but tomorrow it might not, because starting at midnight tonight, going into Wednesday, the 9th, Wednesday morning, China's going to have a giant-ass tariff added to it. That's going to cause markets to get a little funky. There's just no way that's going to be smooth. So who knows what's going to happen. Be careful, guys. Just be prepared, be ready, and try to be as nice as you can to the people that are freaking out right now, because there's a bunch of them too. But stand strong. Be proud. We've come a long ways, and we're doing amazing things. You guys as ripples are changing the world. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.